Hello, and thank you so much for joining us. I'm Maria Tomás-Keegan, and I want to welcome you to the show where we share a little bit of wit, a little bit of wisdom, and some wonderful experts to help women navigate career and life changes and challenges. And most importantly, for you to know that you are not alone. Each week, through our conversations, we share resources to encourage women to be more confident, resilient, and brave in their career and life choices. We stream live every week on Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific time on the E360 TV network, which you can find on your favorite streaming channels like Roku and Apple TV and Amazon Fire. And we go live simultaneously on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, where you can interact with us. And if you prefer to listen to your favorite episodes, you can also find us on the podcast channels. So if something inspires you as you listen to us today and you want more, please subscribe to your favorite channel, leave us a comment, and share your favorite episodes so we can create more ripples for women around the world. So many of us have experienced betrayal in our personal lives and sometimes in our professional lives. I know I have experienced both of those. And we've tried to navigate through it thinking, I'm smart, I'm resourceful, I can do this. But it's not that easy, and it's often not the wisest move. And today's guest will help us understand why. Vanessa Cardenas is a dynamic betrayal recovery specialist and a C-suite executive mentor. With a career spanning over 2 decades, Vanessa combines her experience in high-level corporate leadership with her passion for helping individuals recover from betrayal. Holding a degree in industrial psychology and various certifications in trauma and life coaching, she brings a unique perspective on human behavior and personal growth. We'll explore Vanessa's dual roles and how they complement each other, shedding light on the often overlooked intersection of betrayal within business settings. We'll delve into her journey, discussing pivotal experiences that shaped her career, the motivation behind her decision to balance her C-suite role with betrayal recovery work, and the impact of her transformative approach on other people's lives. I am so excited to have this conversation. Welcome, Vanessa. Thank you so much for joining us.
Maria, what a beautiful, beautiful introduction. Thank you so much. We are going to have the most amazing conversation.
I think so.
A really challenging topic.
Yes. Yes, I couldn't agree more. So let's get started. I would love it if you would share that pivotal moment or experience that inspired you to become a betrayal recovery specialist while maintaining a really important and responsible C-suite role. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Oh, I can say this. No one studies betrayal recovery unless you've gone through it. And I went through it. I have to be honest. I was addicted. I was addicted to certainty. I thought for sure that if I checked off all the right boxes, that I'd be inoculated from anything terrible happening to me. And I did all the right things, or at least what society said were the right things. I went to a good college. I got good grades. I got a great job. I advanced up the corporate ladder into the C-suite. I married my high school sweetheart. I had 2 beautiful children, the house, the cars, the money in the bank. I thought I had an epic love story. And then one day, we're walking through Central Park, and that crispness in the air, and it was people watching and just taking in New York City. And I remember it so distinctly. And my husband said, "Hey, let's sit down for a moment. We sat down on a bench and I could feel the wood underneath me. And, I'm looking around and I'm looking, at the people walking by and the children in the playground. And he says, Vanessa. And I turn to look at him and it's in slow motion. I need to tell you something. And I looked at him and he says, I've met someone. And my whole world shattered in an instant. What? And in my mind, instantaneously, the movie went. I'm alone. He's remarried, new kids, new house, new car, new life. And I'm left standing in the rubble. And I descended into the darkness. I couldn't even believe I was there.
Mm.
I was a smart woman. I had a psychology degree. Why was this affecting me so strongly? Why was I in such despair? And I attempted to go through this alone
Mm.
because I'm smart. I could do
Mm.
this.
Mm.
And that was probably the biggest mistake that I made. Was I attempted to recover on my own, not asking for help because I'm a strong woman. I'm everything to everyone. My cape was always frayed and dirty, but I still wore it with great pride. I was the great mother, the great friend, the great C-suite executive. I had what I thought was all until my husband said those words to me. And I fell into that despair. And as I mentioned, it wasn't until I asked for help. And then life changed for me. And it
Mm.
changed in such a profound way because I realized through coaching, through therapy, through counseling, that this betrayal was the explosion that I needed to transform. And the reason that it was affecting me so greatly was that I had had all these little micro betrayals throughout my life that I didn't recognize. I almost didn't have the language for them when I was younger. And, when I was a child, when I was going through my teenage years, even into my 20s, I didn't have the language for it. I just saw it as that was a messed up situation.
Mm.
Done. And, gone. And no, when you don't heal and you don't clean up those little things start to stack. And when you get something really big, woo.
Oh, you are so, so right about that. That just reminded me about, and like I said in the introduction, I was the same way. I'm smart. I'm resourceful. I can do this. I don't need anybody else. Then I went and I've been through two divorces. The first one I did on my own, and I thought I had done it right until my second marriage started going down the tubes. And then all of that came back. All of the things that I had not dealt with, I had just stuffed them down. So that is so, so true. We have to deal with that stuff. Mm, yeah, your story hit my heart big time. Big time. All right. So while you were going through this, you were a C suite executive. So let's just talk a little bit about how do you, smart woman that you are, right? How do you deal with the responsibility and the shattered at work and the shattered life at home?
Well, it's interesting because you find yourself where you're numbing, you're avoiding, and you're distracting yourself from what's going on in your personal life. So you somewhat jump into work and you suddenly become very much so. This is my focus. I'm going to focus on work. I'm going to ignore my personal situation.
Mm.
For me, in my case, we had kept it quiet. No one in my job about it at all. They had no idea that I was going through any personal issues at all because I kept up the facade. I kept up the image that I'm okay. Yes. Would I cry in my car on the way to work? Yes. Would I cry in my office alone when everybody else had left? Yes. Would I cry on the way home? Yes. I would always be crying or upset or just in the throes of how I was feeling elsewhere. It almost became work became my salvation in terms of I'm going to fake it till I make it. And yeah, that doesn't work either. It really doesn't. But again, I wanted to be smart. I wanted to put myself in a position where no one else knew that I was hurting. And yeah, once my assistant kind of caught wind that something was going on, it was a weight off my shoulders to be
Yeah.
able to just be real and be authentic and just sit in it and allow someone else, because sometimes we don't need advice. Sometimes we just need to hear that we're not the only one. And when she said to me, I've been betrayed too,
Mhm.
oh, oh, that is in essence the birth of the Me Too movement was built solely based on that, so that someone else would know that they're not alone,
Yeah.
that they're absolutely not alone. And I realized and recognized at that point that my story is powerful. There is ownership in my story. And when I decided that there comes a point where when we are no longer able to change a situation. I couldn't change the betrayal. I couldn't change it. I was then subsequently challenged to change myself. The great quote, Viktor Frankl. It's absolutely true. And that's what I dove into.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, the power of knowing that we're not alone is, um, it's palpable. It is one of the most cathartic experiences I had when I was going through my stuff, and knowing that people understood that there's this big thing going on in the rest of my life. And I threw myself into work for the same reasons you did. I kept it from my family for a long time because I didn't live close to them. It was easy to do. And, so how is he? Oh, everything's fine. He's fine. And I just kept it. That compartmentalization that we do for a while, it feels like it helps. And then we realize that the armor that we're wearing begins to crack. And the mask that we have starts to have tears running down its cheek because we're not meant to keep that up.
Mm, mm, that was beautiful. That was beautiful. And I'd love
Yeah,
to add to it is that our body becomes the coffin for all of those emotions, everything that we suddenly feel, that we're overwhelmed with the feelings of just sadness and rage and the questions, what
yeah,
if?
yeah.
Oh, the ruminating questions that we have. What if? Why didn't I see this?
Right. What could I have done? Yeah. Yeah. Yet we have this other role to fill as career women, right? We have to find a way to still be present and productive and a leader to others. When I don't know about you, but in my situation, I would say to myself, how do you lead someone else when you can't lead yourself right now? And
That's
that
when you. Mm.
Go ahead.
I was going to say that's when you lean on your team.
Yeah.
I've been blessed with having an amazing team
Yeah.
around me, and that sometimes they lean on you. They lean on you a lot,
Sure.
but sometimes it's reciprocal that you can lean on them, and they
And
almost appreciate that.
which means we have to be open and authentic about what's going on, right?
Very true.
So there is an understanding
Mm.
about what's going on. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about you getting into uh, this betrayal recovery, helping others, right, through it. Many people would have chosen to, because you found something that you were so passionate about, to help others through a terrible time like you went through. Many would have chosen to leave their corporate life behind and, create a business around this. You chose to continue to do both. Tell us a little bit about what motivated you to balance both roles.
Mm. I, it's so amazing that so many people ask me this because I have wonderful clients that I work with, and I have a wait list as well. Could I do this full time? Absolutely. But I worked really hard to get into that C suite, and I really feel that there needs to be more women in leadership roles. And here I am, I'm in the role, and I feel with all my heart that if I leave, a man's going to take my position. And I don't want that. I want to honor those, my team members who got me through my betrayal by just being present with me and allowing me those extra moments when something would happen. I would get an instant trigger and my eyes would get all red and the tears would start and they'd be like, I've got you. It's okay. It's okay. I wanted to honor my team as well by staying in my role because I can make an impact here in my role as well. And that's what my life turned into. That was one of the transformational things that I went through going through my own betrayal and then subsequently helping others was that I made a very conscious decision that everything in my life is going to be one of three things. Actually, it's going to be all three things, but two out of the three is good as well. First off, it's got to be fun. And now I instill that fun into my C suite executive position. Oh, there are times where we have a lot of fun. We get a lot of work done, but we have fun doing it. The second is impact. Yes, I want to have an impact. I want to have an impact on my clients. I want to have an impact on my team members. I want to have an impact on my organization. Absolutely. I want to continue to mentor those that are coming through. The new college grads. I love working with new college grads. I love mentoring them through the process because I come in now with such a blended empathy role.
Mm.
As in leadership, trust is a cornerstone, and when you go through betrayal recovery, yeah, you got to rebuild trust. So I work really hard on that trust factor. And I love blending the two. The third is profitable. So I want to continue in my role in both aspects if it continues to be profitable, both for the company I work for as well as my own company. I love merging the two. I think it's so cohesive and it goes hand in hand and it actually makes me better in both. Yes.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you talked about impact. Um, because I am certain, given this wonderful blend of experiences that you have, that you will impact others who are going through a similar journey. So, can you share a specific story of someone you've helped in their career and or betrayal recovery journey and the impact it had on their lives?
Mm. Most recently, I had my administrative assistant give her notice. And it was a very sad day for me. I knew it was coming because she's going to grad school. She's going into a completely different career. And when she applied to work here with us, it was only going to be temporary. Well, 5 years later and all through college, she elected to stay, and we absolutely loved having her. But she wrote me the most amazing letter. I had no idea the impact that I had on this young lady until I read her words. Her words really resonated with me. I have it right here because every day I look at it and I'm like, wow, I had that impact. And in short, she says, I know that the foundation you helped me build will serve as a solid platform for the challenges and successes that lay ahead. While I'm excited about the new chapter awaiting me, leaving behind such an inspiring mentor is not without its emotional weight.
Mm,
I had no idea. I had no idea. I was just being myself and taking her under my wing. And anytime a situation came up, I would offer solutions, I would offer advice, I would ask powerful questions to get her thinking so that she could come up with those solutions. And as we worked together over the 5 years, there would be projects that she would bring to me and to look at, to critique. And I would ask her, well, how do you feel about it? And she's like, it's great. I think it's good. It's good to go. And I said, great. Let it go. Let it rip. And she's like, you don't want to look at it? And I'm like, no, no. If you say that it's good to go, let it go. Absolutely. And that was so encouraging to her and so inspiring. And I saw it. I witnessed that. And I also witnessed the rest of the team acknowledging that as well and understanding that leadership is about trusting your people
exactly.
to do the
That's right.
right thing.
And that's such a perfect example of you trusting her because she already told you, beautiful words she wrote to you, but you helped establish the foundation upon which she then can launch. And you trust that foundation is very, very sturdy and steady, and it's based on the good things, right, that you've taught her. I love that.
Mm,
I love that. And trust is such a big factor when betrayal comes into our lives or the lack thereof, the ruining of the trust and then building that back. And as a leader, and here's that balance again in your roles as the C-suite leader who was betrayed and now helps others through betrayal. It's reestablishing that trust, which is it's very different. It looks very different after betrayal. Would you agree with that?
oh, without a doubt, both are rooted in trust.
Yeah.
Very, very much so. And it's amazing how we give trust pretty easily initially when we meet somebody. We're a little
Mhm.
cautious, but for the most part, we give the benefit of the doubt. But when that trust is broken, ooh, it's really hard to rebuild it.
It is.
And it is brick by brick, step by step.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So how do you see the kind of the intersection between leadership and betrayal recovery? What advice would you give to women, individuals, uh, men too, who might be facing betrayal within the context of business relationships?
Mm. Business relationships are challenging because we spend a good chunk of our time with those that we work with.
Yeah.
And when we feel slighted, when we feel betrayed, that just completely has an impact, a ripple effect within the entire organization. We've all seen it. We've all felt it when somebody else comes into the office and they're not in a good mood anymore and they're very cynical. You know that something's going on, whether it's going on in their personal life or in their professional life. And as a leader, we need to make sure that we have the pulse of our team members. And sometimes it's as simple as asking, how are you? Not, how are you? It's, how are you? And sitting your team member down and saying, talk to me. I'm right here. Let's hear it. What's going on for you? And having that capability and that understanding of being able to do so. A perfect example that I have of this is that we had a team member that was always late. And it was affecting the rest of the team because things would start at a certain time. But this particular team member was always late and would run in very, type of thing and sit down and be all distracted. And it was very disruptive to everyone else. So I called her into my office and said, what's going on? And she said, my children's bus schedule has changed and now it's affecting everything. And I said, so would it be helpful if we changed your start time to a half hour later? Yes, that would be wonderful. Easy enough. We were able to make that happen for her. She wasn't in quite the position yet to be able to make that request. But I, seeing the ripple effect it was having, was able to ask that question. Whereas someone else might call that person into their office and say, hey, listen, you're late every day. If you're late again, I'm going to have no choice but to write you up. I'm going to have no choice but if you're late 3 more times to lay you off. That's too stressful. Sometimes we don't know what's going on in somebody else's life. And we need, as leadership, to be able to have that person trust us enough to be able to talk to us. And what we do is we build that trust brick by brick, layer by layer, by being empathetic, by asking those powerful questions, seeing where they're at, being human.
Yeah. And you've just nailed it. When we as leaders can be human and lead human, right? The empathy factor can't be understated here. I can remember so many times in my life where my initial response to something might be, ooh, I'm just, that made me angry, or that made me, but just to step back for a moment, just to take a pause and wonder what's going on for them that made them react that way, made them say that. And just, I can remember my father always saying, walk a mile in someone else's shoes and you'll get a whole different perspective.
Mm.
And that's really what we're talking about here. It's just being open to the fact that what's going on in our lives, they don't know. What's going on in their lives, we don't know unless we open up the conversation.
Mm. And that brings us to communication.
Absolutely.
Communication is the cornerstone of trust.
Yeah.
You have to be able to communicate. People can't read each other's minds. We think we can. We think, I know what he's thinking. No, you don't.
Probably not.
No, not at all. So it's using your words and using language effectively and knowing our tone. And we have become warriors with our thumbs. We do everything with our thumbs. We swipe left, we swipe right, we text. The tone gets lost.
The tone gets lost.
It does.
Yeah.
It absolutely does.
It
We can
does.
write 3 words and it can just, or it can be, oh, there's a great YouTube video. I love this video. It's a clip from Friends, the show Friends.
Yeah.
And if you followed Friends, Ross did not know that Monica and Chandler were dating. And then he finds out. So the scene is they come in and he immediately says, "You two are dating?" And he says it that way. And then they look at each other and cuddle and say, "I love him. I love her." And then he goes, "Oh, you're
Yeah.
dating." Same words, but
Right.
the tone in which to say that takes on a completely different meaning.
Because because he got context,
Exactly.
right? And it
Exactly.
changes everything. It changes everything. That's so,
Truly
so
true.
true. The way we communicate, what we say, how we listen, and how we respond. It's just so important.
And
It's
that
just,
was the key word, respond,
yeah,
rather than react.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
So you have led this remarkable balance between your corporate career and betrayal recovery work. What personal qualities, maybe even strategies, have helped you maintain this? I'm going to use the word balance, but actually I want to say the word harmony.
Mm.
So how it has that been successful for you?
Mm. It's definitely a willingness. I had the
Mhm.
willingness that I wanted to make this work, that I wanted to be able to have one foot in one spot and one foot in the other spot so I could do both and I could effectively do both because I love them both. And that is a amazing feeling to me because I'll share something with you. Betrayal, especially by the person that you love the absolute most, when they betray you, it's so gut wrenching. It's as if your heart was ripped out of your chest. And I don't wish it on anyone, not at all. Use your words. If you're feeling that inclination where someone's paying attention to you and there's that enticement, no. Talk to your partner. Let them know that you felt that, but you want to feel that with your partner. Don't betrayal. Oh, it's so gut wrenching. But I will say this: I am better for the experience.
Mhm.
Yes, I am
Yeah.
better for the experience. And a lot of my clients that I work with, when they get to the end of their betrayal recovery journey, they realize they're actually better for the experience as well. So
Yeah.
I love merging the two roles that I have because they're still fun, impactful, and profitable. And those are my 3 why I do what I do: fun, impactful, and profitable. I love it. And how I balance it is I stay grounded. I stay in the present moment. Yes, can triggers of the past nudge at me? Yeah, every once in a while I'll get something. I'll get that little, ooh, that's a negative charge for me. Ooh, that doesn't quite feel right. But I recognize it. I now have the tools to recognize what's going on around me, how I'm feeling about a certain situation. Then there's the future. And we can look to the future, and sometimes we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we underestimate what we can do in 3 years. And I'm always looking ahead, but I don't live ahead. I live in this present moment. And oh, it's so beautiful right here, right now. Truly, truly is.
So I love the way you started that by saying first it takes willingness. You got to know what you want, right? And when you know what you want, you can make almost anything happen in one way, shape, or form. It's like the possibilities are limitless
Mm,
when you know what you want. and you're willing to do what it takes to make that happen. And for you, it was to balance or find harmony in the kind of those two two business areas for you. So I have another question. This is leading me to, so you're a busy corporate leader and a busy consultant on recovery, betrayal recovery. Tell me how you find the time to take care of you.
I love the question. Well, I will say this. I have a non-negotiable. There is something that I do every single week that's non-negotiable. It's on my calendar. It doesn't matter if I get invited for a keynote speech, if a client needs me. I have carved that 4-hour chunk of time out, and it's just for me. It's non-negotiable. Everybody in my life knows it. And it's my oasis. It's something that I look forward to. I don't even have it penciled in my calendar anymore. It's just known. And that's what we need to do as women, is we need to have non-negotiable things that bring us joy, to fill our cup up, to just, yes, it feels so good to take care of ourselves. And in whatever capacity, I know the term self-care comes out there and people say, oh, do this, that'll make you feel good. Well, wait a second. If that doesn't make me feel good, then that's not self-care to me. It took me a while to figure out what it was for me, but when I got it, I was like, yes, I need 4 hours, non-negotiable. I'm not doing anything for anyone else but me. And that's how I carve out time for me. It's not, hit or miss or this or that type of thing. No, it's 52 weeks a year, every year after year after year. This day, 4 hours is mine.
I love that. I love that. And being so intentional and having set the boundaries around it for everyone else to
Mhm.
know that, and such a great role model. You are walking the talk here.
Mhm.
Love that. Love that. That's so important. And for others, it might not be a 4-hour chunk on the same day every week, 52 weeks a year. It might be an hour a day because you're a career woman. You're struggling with other personal issues. You might be a mom. You might be a caregiver. And you need to find your time to do what feeds your soul. I love that.
Correct. Just as beautifully said, beautifully said. And I'd add to it, just make it non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. I
Non-negotiable.
love that you said that. Yeah, it's non-negotiable.
Hmm.
But it's, yes, and it might look different than how you've done yours,
Hmm.
but it should be non-negotiable no matter how you carve it out. Love that. Such a good reminder.
Hmm.
All right, I want to cover something that you and I spoke about when we first met that I am intrigued about, and I think our audience would love to hear about too. Could you elaborate on the concept of hindsight window theory?
Mm. This was my godsend. This was the pinnacle moment in my recovery. I remember it so distinctly. And when I stumbled across it on YouTube, just, the endless scrolling, trying to find something to make me feel better as I was in so much pain, I stumbled across Eric Edmonds' hindsight window theory. 20 minutes of pure wisdom, not about betrayal. Absolutely not. But it's more about the hindsight window. And what that is, it's the time in between a terrible event and when you can actually look back on the event and recognize that it's a gift. Now, hold
Mm,
on. hold on. I know that some people are like, whoa, 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 whoa. This terrible event, now we're going to look at it as a gift. Yes. Because sometimes our hindsight window is really long. Like my grandparents' hindsight windows of, an event, and then they held that grudge for so many years, for decades. They held on to that. The hindsight window theory just says, listen, let's look at the event. Let's see it from all angles, because sometimes when a terrible event has happened, we put on the blinders. We don't see anything else. It might actually be a gift. So the way I look at this, and I mesmerizing this YouTube video. I saw it when it had 500 views. It's definitely well over, I would say, at least 1 million views, because it was just so powerful in any aspect of life. I, of course, see everything through a lens of betrayal. So I can pivot it to help me understand why I was going through this experience. And I remember distinctly being in our marriage counselor's office, screaming, not at my husband, but at our counselor, going, there has got to be a reason. There has got to be a reason why I'm going through this. There has to be a purpose. There has to be a purpose. I cannot be in this much pain if there's no purpose. There has to be a purpose. And I remember distinctly doing that. My betrayal, when it happened, was devastating. It was. But now, through recovery, through seeing those words, those 3 words said to me with a different prism, I see my betrayal as a gift. It cracked me open. It cracked me open in a way that I don't think anything else would have cracked me open.
Mhm.
And it gave me my purpose. I live my life by design now, by my own design, with purpose, on purpose. Oh, it's glorious. It absolutely is. And it's this hindsight window theory that really was the shift that I needed. I needed to understand, and you'll see it too. You'll think about it, that an event from your past that at the time was terrible,
Mm.
but then you look at it years later, months later, weeks later, and you're like, wow, that actually needed to happen. Because if that didn't happen, I wouldn't be right here, right now, in this
Exactly.
moment. And this
Exactly.
moment's pretty good. This moment's actually pretty good. Think of it this way. Somebody says, you're fired. Ooh, there's such a negative charge. You go into this whole despair. And then you get another job that's better. And it's like, wow, okay, now I'm actually grateful that I got fired, because had I not gotten fired, I would still probably be at that job and I
Right.
wouldn't have this other job. And it's that concept that just was so magical for me.
I love that explanation because that has happened in my life a number of times that I can think of. Um, Being laid off from my corporate after nearly 20 years with my last corporate gig, um, that was devastating to me. Um, and I am grateful now and have been for quite some time. I did note, I did recognize the gift it was, because if they hadn't made the move, I probably wouldn't have. And I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy at the end. So if they hadn't made the move, I might not have taken the risk to do what I'm doing now, right? To step out of the corporate realm and into entrepreneurship and starting my own business and doing this now that I'm doing with the 7th season of this show. In hindsight, I'm glad to have the language for it now, the hindsight window. If somebody had told me 10 years ago that I'd be doing this now, no, I couldn't imagine it then. So hindsight it is it's a great way to look back on something that's happened and see the gift in it. Find the gift in it. Find the silver lining in it. Love that.
Very, very much so. And it brings us to a really good book, The Gift. Oh, this is 12 Lessons to Save Your Life by Edith Edgar. She is a Holocaust survivor, and The Gift. And if she can find the gift
Oh
in
my
being in
God.
a concentration camp, we can find the gift in the horrors that we go through in our lives.
Right.
And note that we might not be able to see the gift right at this moment,
Yeah.
but know that it's there. Know because your history has shown you that there have been gifts. So
Yeah.
go through your life, this present moment when something happens, and go, let me pause. Let me think about this. Let me take a moment and see if I can find the gift in it. Might not be right at this moment, but it'll come. It absolutely will come for you.
And even if you haven't found like the big gift yet, there is likely something that you can be grateful for. And it's a small thing. But if you can find those little moments of gratitude when something unexpected has happened to turn your life upside down, then that will lead you to the gift eventually. Love that.
Mm.
We are running out of time here, unfortunately, Vanessa. I would love to continue this conversation with you, but let's just wrap this up in a beautiful bow.
Mm.
Share with us your key takeaways or practical tips. Tell us what you've got for us what do you have to leave us with?
Mm. I'm going to leave you with things related to trust, because trust is the blending of both betrayal and leadership. You need to have trust in both. So, one of the fastest ways to build trust is to make and keep commitments, even the very, very small commitments to yourself and to others. The great Stephen Convoy. Oh, he said it best. But I want to give you 4 essential tips in terms of rebuilding trust, whether that's after betrayal or in a leadership situation within your company. So, the first one is definitely trust in the simplest things. The sun is going to rise tomorrow, the sun is going to set. You will have water when you turn on your faucet. The simplest little things you want to have that be your cornerstone to get started on rebuilding trust. The second, step number 2, is trust in yourself again. Yes, someone else or something terrible has happened to you. It wasn't about you. And your self-esteem and your trust of yourself, yeah, it cracks. So you want to start rebuilding the trust you have in yourself. And that can be as straightforward as making a promise to yourself. I promise I'm going to drink a glass of water every morning when I wake up. And do so. And once you start building that, yes, the trust in yourself. The third step is strengthen your intuition. Yeah, you have your intuition. You have that little gut feeling inside of yourself, not to be confused with a nasty chick voice on your shoulder. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. This is in your belly. You feel it, you know it. You want to start honoring it. And then the fourth is slowly start trusting others. Just with little things, brick by brick. Have someone else make a commitment to you and have them honor that commitment. Let them build their trust for you so that you can feel safe, that you can feel so much better. Yes, You don't want to numb yourself. You don't want to avoid. You don't want to distract. You want to face what you need to face head on. You don't want to go around it. You don't want to go under it. You don't want to go over it. You do need to go through it. And rebuilding trust, it is a slow process, but you can absolutely do it. Mm.
You couldn't have left us on a more solid and important note, because in betrayal, in business, personally, if we don't have trust, we have no foundation for relationships. So that, and I love those 4 steps. And they are small steps, and they are, and the key is, make a promise to yourself and keep it, right? Have someone else make a commitment to you and keep it, right? That's what will slowly add those bricks that you talk about. I love that. Great way to end this show. Vanessa, thank you so much for sharing I love your energy, sharing your brilliance. I love your journey. I love what you are doing. I love that you have this, you want to honor the need for more women and in the C-suite, and sticking with that while you follow your other passion of helping people through betrayal. I'm blessed to know you. Thank you so much for being here.
Maria, thank you. Thank you.
And I know that there are many people who are going to want to get in touch with you. So what's the one best way for them to get to know you and learn more about what you're doing?
Definitely through my website, which is understandingear.com. The hardest things to say are the most important things to say, locked within, not for the want of a teller, but for the want of an understanding ear.
Oh, love that. Love that. And that is such a great description of who you are.
Mm.
I love that.
Thank you,
Thank
Maria.
you again.
Thank
Thank
you.
you again. I appreciate you being here.
Mm.
And for those of you watching and listening, I appreciate that you are part of this community too. Thank you so much. So if you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a comment, click a star, let us know what you're thinking. Because creating and sharing resources for women is one of my favorite things to do. And another one of my favorite things is being a career and life coach for women navigating challenging times and helping them get unstuck, explore new possibilities, and find harmony in their career and life. So if something in this episode resonates with you and you'd like a fresh perspective, reach out. Let's talk. The links to connect with us are in the show notes below. And then let's meet again here next Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, for another inspiring conversation. Because you know what? I believe it's our time to thrive. So let's thrive together. Until next time, I'm Maria Tomás-Keegan, helping you turn transition into triumph.